Hey there! Before we get to today's episode, I want to tell you a little bit about me. I'm Aisha Ashraf, a journalist working from our new CBC office in Prince Albert. I'll be telling stories from the northern part of Saskatchewan. Whether you live near me or further south, we want your story ideas because we care about what's happening in your community. Email us at thisisask@cbc.ca. And one more favor, make sure you're following This is Saskatchewan on your favorite podcast app. Okay, enough of me. Let's get to the episode.
Hi, I'm Alicia Grabinski. This is Saskatchewan. There are a lot of innovative ways to construct a house these days. There are ready-to-move homes, or RTMs. If the road and lots are wide enough, you can transport a house right to your lot and immediately make it a home. RTMs are often used as cabins. It might be trickier to get one into downtown Saskatoon. There's also prefab, modular, or factory-built homes where all the parts are built in a warehouse and then assembled on site. So voila, you have a home. Some homes are movable, like a tiny house. They arrive on a steel structure with wheels, often called a chassis. They can be moved again, or the foundation can be built on top of the chassis and the home will stay put. It all depends on what the community bylaws allow. These types of homes fall under the umbrella term manufactured homes, and they're getting a lot of buzz right now. The federal government announced its Build Canada Homes initiative. The goal? Build affordable homes fast.
The two sets of homes behind me were manufactured in 2 days, assembled on site in one. We kept the townhouses. We wanted to keep the townhouses open. We held back the workers from finishing it so you could see how things fit together, how the computer design fits together and tailors the structure.
Right now, a lot of communities have pretty strict rules that don't allow for manufactured homes. But that's changing. Regina is moving towards allowing manufactured homes in all neighbourhoods. Right now, they're only allowed in 2 neighbourhoods. Regina City Councillor Victoria Flores put forward the motion.
Of course, there is a lot of rage baiting with this idea of the stigma around trailers and, are just going to have like the 70s style, like house on wheels. That's not the case, right? And I think that honestly it's very classist and is very, it contributes to a conversation that is not productive to addressing our housing crisis and to addressing the fact that folks can afford different types of homes, and some may afford a brand new build that's really expensive. That's not in the budget for everybody, so we need to have options that think about all of our residents.
If you're purchasing a manufactured home that could end up in any neighborhood, would I even be able to tell the difference?
If you look at a manufactured home from the 70s, 60s, yeah, likely, right? Like they used to be more like square and a very specific shape. But and I invite everybody to look up manufactured homes, modern manufactured homes, and look at all the options that are available now. Because that's what we're looking at is options and types and a big variety of things that folks can access. So for the most part, unless you're really aware of all of the difference, the average person, I don't think the ones that's in the lot set up properly would be able to tell a manufactured bungalow versus a traditionally built bungalow.
What do you think it really is going to take for Regina to build up housing stock to be able to meet the current demand?
I think affordability is a big one, and the ability to have those options for folks, both with new innovative websites like manufacturing RTMs, but making sure that like the average person can afford a home and that the appropriate investments are made. So it is within the reach of people. I think the will is there. I think the residents are being clear about we need housing options. We need affordable housing options. We need to make sure that we are keeping up with the demand because ultimately folks need to be housed.
What do home builders think about this move towards manufactured homes? Stu Niebergall is president and CEO of the Regina Home Builders Association.
Yeah, I think Councillor Flores, really described things exceptionally well. I think it's the most simplest understanding of what the difference is between a modular home and a manufactured home. because they're both built in factories, is really whether they're built on a chassis or not. Other than that, there's really not much difference. Of course, in a modular home, you can't move that. You need to crane that in a manufactured home. And I have to just also add, as we're talking about this subject, our association actually doesn't represent the manufactured homes. That is a different association that represents them. But when we sent a letter in supporting this change on zoning to City Council and to the Planning Commission when it was in front of them, and our communications on this, again, when we looked at, the impacts this has, within the housing sector, again, whether a home is built that has a chassis or not, is not a fundamental reason why you should allow or not allow that type of home within a neighborhood.
So your organization was in support of this?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Again, any housing options and choices, can be very, very significant because, again, this opens up different kind of possibilities. One of the common questions we've gotten over the years is in the popularity of the tiny house movement, that we've all watched on television and in other neighborhoods. Again, something like that really wasn't possible here in Regina because typically a tiny home is built on a chassis. And so again, that would not allow that. The city, in terms of its intensification plans, is looking, has incorporating today that would allow for more types of backyard suites in people's lots. Again, limiting only to modular or stick-built. A manufactured home built on a chassis, opens the door for more backyard suites within a neighborhood. So it's one more tool in the toolbox to add to the housing supply, that is, again, so important for our community.
I know you're with the Regina Home Builders Association, and we've been very focused on Regina for this show. Do you have any idea what the rules are in Saskatoon or PA? Is Regina leading the way, or was Saskatoon already doing this? Do you know?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with Saskatoon. What I would say that just as a quick glance, there's actually very few communities today in Canada that I believe allow for this zoning change. So we certainly would be leaders and ahead of most cities within Canada. My understanding is, though, that many communities are looking at this. So I would say Regina is certainly a leader in this particular area. It's not uncommon to have, while I'm walking around the city or phone calls in especially from young people who typically are, saying, hey, I don't have a partner. I'm not planning on having a family. Why is the only housing choice I have now have to be kind of a stacked apartment, right? Why can't I get a small home, with a little bit of grass all the way around me? And again, you can kind of do that at some level, but again, this just creates another affordable option for people to be able to, again, access housing.
Does it create competition in a way that might be challenging? Like, I'm just trying to think of questions that people might have about this, or even builders. Like, are they, is this taking away job opportunities for them? Or, are they built as well as a home that's more traditionally built? Like, do you get some of those questions?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, again, what we're promoting here is, again, as many housing options as possible, and not letting technology limitations get in the way of that. I mean, if you're looking at some other North American cities, some in the U.S., they're having great success with 3D printed homes. All these new technologies are, coming into place. I mean, in Utah, they are now using bamboo So again, there's all these technologies that are happening, and so we need zoning bylaws, that are going to allow for these markets to emerge, and then the market will sort itself out.
And will it save people money? Like, are they typically less expensive? And I guess, like, what are we comparing? But if we had two similar styles of home, like size-wise, are they less money? Or is it just that they can be built faster? Or both?
Yeah, I mean, it's again, there is probably some cost savings there. I think as you find that you're saving money in one aspect of it, you're probably spending money in another aspect of it. So, we'll have to wait and see how that all shapes its way out. I don't think they are inherently guaranteed to be cheaper. I think that is one of the failures of the federal government's Build Canada Homes thought process, that somehow manufactured homes factory-built homes are just ultimately going to be substantially cheaper. That's not necessarily the case, but there is different efficiencies and different benefits to that. And so, every market and every location will have its own impacts. So, one of the things that the city, in this change that probably provides some benefit. I mean, the city next week, I think, is taking to council their underutilized land strategy. So often there is, lots throughout the city that don't necessarily fit traditional build easily. They can be some of the oddball lots here and there that happen. Again, there might be an opportunity for somebody to bring in a manufacturer, a modular home, and be able to fill that vacant lot at a more affordable and easy way. Again, as an overall city, we should want that.
So who makes these houses? Derek Hebert is general manager for Grander Housing. It has a factory in Manitoba with retail outlets in Moose Jaw and Prince Albert.
Certainly, with some of the changes in Regina, it's a very exciting time for our industry. And, there's such a gap and such a, need for housing. I applaud the efforts made to try and close that gap.
Well, tell me more about how your buildings are being used to meet housing demands in Saskatchewan.
Well, we build a number of different styles and types of products, and as you've already encountered, there's a lot of different terminology out there for what we do. I know the historical, term mobile home is one that people still akin a lot of what we build to that. We provide manufactured homes as well too, which essentially is the same building code that any other home is built to, and it happens to go on a steel chassis, which I've heard mentioned here now a few times, which is quite fine as a structure. What we're doing, is providing affordable, but also available and immediately available homes for anyone that needs it. So, what can we do? I mean, we have immediate possession type homes, which is what we have at our sales or retail locations, both in Moose Jaw and PA. And we're ready to service whatever people are looking for with a variety of styles and designs.
How are you defining affordable?
Well, that is a great question, and affordability becomes what is within the value, I guess, is what I'll say, is that what we produce in our factory, we have inherent advantages in terms of efficiency, both from an assembly line process, which does allow for, leveraging some of the labor efficiencies that you can get. We're not, bothered by weather conditions or anything else, so a lot of that labor efficiency can get poured into these homes. We can reuse or reutilize, recycle a lot of the material that would otherwise end up in landfills, so we can be more efficient that way with material usage as well. And the time to delivery, time to site, that can also be a savings as well too. So every situation is a little bit different, and every location and jurisdiction has its own uniqueness to it. So not everything that we do necessarily becomes more affordable, but it can be if it's leveraged the right way.
What do you say to people who don't maybe want this in their neighborhood? I mean, this comes up every time we have a conversation about any kind of infill. How would you respond to that?
Well, I would certainly, first and foremost, is what we try and do here is invite people to come see what we do and take a look for yourselves, because I think there's a lot of historical connotations towards something that comes in, on wheels, so to speak. This isn't the mobile homes of the 70s that we're talking about here. These are homes that are built to the National Building Code, and in a lot of cases are built above and beyond the code, just because we have to transport it down the highway. And these homes are not unique in the sense that I use special material. They use all the same fixtures, products that every other home that people are living in today use.
Or have your homes been used at all in communities devastated by fire? I'm thinking of communities in Saskatchewan where there was, devastating loss, and then a lot of homes need to be built quickly all at the same time. Would this be something that would work in a community in a situation like that?
Yeah, we would certainly have a unique opportunity to do that because of our just the nature of what we do. We're off-site construction, so we're able to build and to ship just about anywhere in the country, and depending on the highway and the road conditions. But we're always ready, and we can ramp up very quickly as well to produce homes to meet some of those urgent needs and some of those emergency type situations as well. So uniquely situated to deal with a lot of those kinds of issues for sure.
Are you working with any Indigenous communities at this point?
Absolutely. Yeah, we service a lot of different northern and indigenous communities as well, too, where, remote locations, road conditions, winter roads, all of those kind of things create challenges. And because we're a volumetric builder, which I'm going to add another term to your repertoire there.
I'm learning a lot today.
Volumetric modular. So what that means is we build a complete home, whereas, some of the modular descriptors, they're modular components. For example, they'll deliver panels to a site and assemble on site, whereas what we do is 90% plus finished before it leaves our factory. So in some of these remote locations, you can imagine that we deliver a home to this location, and within a week, they can be living in that home, which is huge when you have very tight and weather-bound sort of building timeframes.
So you would be talking about like the kitchen's complete, there's a bathroom in there already, and that's what's being moved to the community?
Absolutely. In some cases, we also supply furniture or any other fixtures that they need there as well. So it's complete, ready to move in, paint's on the wall. You're ready to cook your steak on the stove.
Just past Hague, north of Saskatoon, you'll see Zach's. They build prefab homes and cabins there of all sizes, right beside the highway. My friend and colleague Danny Kerslake rolled past there earlier this year and spotted something surprising. Big, 2-story, 10-plexes, 4 of them. So could these apartment buildings be mobile? Danny met up with sales manager Bryant Van Kuke.
Yeah, we're standing outside one of the 10-plex units. We've tried to make them as nice looking as we can, at the same time trying to do our very best to keep them affordable and recognize the pricing restrictions that we need to have in place for purpose-built rentals.
Okay, let's go have a look.
Sure, we got a 1-bedroom to look at here. So as we step in the door, we're, I guess, in what you would call the great room. So it'd be your living, dining, kitchen all tied into one. Nice linear kitchen, quartz countertops, some good storage right here by the front door. And then as we move through the unit, we've got 1 bedroom, which has a stackable washer dryer right in it. So you've got your own private washer dryer, and then a good full-size bathroom with tub shower unit and everything you need.
These are fairly modest units.
Yeah, this isn't too much, but certainly as a single or just a couple, it certainly would work well. And particularly in Kindersley, where I know that there's a lot of sort of oil field presence. This might be a home during the week, and then they'll go to their true home on the weekends, that sort of idea.
If you could describe the size of this thing, if somebody was driving by here, what would they see?
Well, you're going to notice it. It's bigger than anything else in the yard. In fact, they're wider than we would typically build. If we had to cross a bridge, we probably couldn't. But because we're going to Kindersley and there's no bridges between here and there, we're able to go over 40 feet wide with this unit.
Can you remind me again, what's RTM?
Ready to move. So that is when we basically build a complete building usually a house, but not always, that we can move down the road and then place on a foundation at its final destination.
Have you guys ever built something this big on site here and then shipped it?
No, right now this is probably currently the biggest RTMs that we've built in our history.
Do you recall when you first got this order, kind of what went through your mind and what kind of stuff were you talking about in the boardroom? Were people even wondering, is this even possible?
Well, of course, those are the questions you ask. You want to make sure it'll fit down the road and you'll be able to get to the site that is where it's going. And so, yeah, we just talked through all the different details, spoke with our moving company, and then internally, looked at some of the logistics of doing this. And no, we were excited about the challenge.
Why did this make sense for the buyer?
Well, I think that's an easy answer. RTMs often make sense in and of themselves. RTM and or modular building often produces economies of scale, along with the benefits of less waste, less travel, less fuel, and more efficient use of trades.
Obviously, we're in a situation where housing is in demand. How does this answer that need?
Housing of all types is needed right now, and so one of the growing areas certainly is sort of multi-unit purpose-built for rentals is a growing segment. The reason is housing affordability is decreasing, and so more and more people need to rent as opposed to have the ability to buy, and so it's a need in the marketplace, and this customer has that as a target for their business, and so that is sort of the way they are choosing to be a part of the solution.
So what are your thoughts on this? Are manufactured homes a solution to our housing crisis? Do you live in one? Would you live in one? Send us an email at thisisk@cbc.ca. I'm Leisha Grabinski. Thanks to Nicole Huck for helping with this episode, and thank you for listening.